Hello and welcome to the Walking Talking topic on exchange rates, question number 5 with me, Mr. Barton. Now, a fairly tricky two-part question this one for question 5, but hopefully we're warmed up by now so we can take it on. Henry lives in France and he's going on holiday to Iceland. The bank offers him an exchange rate of €1 to buy 154.18 Icelandic krona. I'm just going to make a note of that now before I forget. So €1 gets him 154.18. I'm just going to put K for Corona there. Henry wants to exchange €300, but no more than this. So let's make a note: €300 into Icelandic Corona. But the bank only has 20 Corona notes. I assume that means kind of denominations of 20. Calculate the maximum number of Icelandic krona that Henry can buy and how much this is going to cost him in euros. Now, this isn't actually the wording, but you can get kind of bogged down in the detail. So let's have a look. We know every euro is going to get Henry 154.18 krona. He wants to spend €300, but no more than that. So let's work out how many krona that would give him. So to get from 1 to 300, we're going to make it 300 times bigger. So we've got to make our Corona 300 times bigger as well. So 154.18 times by 300. Give that a click and we get 46,254. Now I think I'm calling this Corona. It's Corona. I think Corona, I've got the beer on my mind there. So he gets 46,254. But the bank only has 20 Corona notes, so denominations of 20. So how much of that can he actually get? Well, let's see how many times 20 goes into this and what is left over. That's the important thing. So let's try this out. If I divide it by 20, it'll be no surprise that it doesn't quite go into 20. So let's just make a note of this here. 46,254. If I divide it by 20, I'm going to get 2,312.7. So he's going to be able to purchase 2,312 lots of 20 Corona notes. But he's not going to quite be able to get that 2,313th Corona note. So how many notes does he actually get? So I'm going to put, he can get 2,312 20 Corona notes, which equals, let's see how much that actually is, 2,312 lots of 20 is 46,240 Corona notes. So that's how much he can actually get in Corona. In an ideal world, he wanted 46,254, but he hasn't quite been able to get that because the bank hasn't got enough notes in there. So that's how much Corona he can actually buy. But how much is that going to cost him in euro? Well, that's no problem. Let's just go back to our table. So we know that €1 is going to cost 154.18. But what we want to do now is we want to figure out how much in euro 46,240 Corona is going to cost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my usual technique. I'm going to get down to 1 Corona and then get back up to this. So to get down to 1, I'm going to have to divide by 154.18. So to work out that in euro, divide by 154.18. And this technique of keeping things balanced works every single time. So we get 1 divided by 154.18. Press me equals. Press my SD button. That's going to give me a shocking number there, but that's in standard form. But to be honest with you, it's okay because we're going to be multiplying it up in a second. So that's 0 point. So that 3's been moved. That decimal point's been moved 3 places. So it's going to be a 0 there. And a 0, 0, I think, so 0.00648, something like that. And then we're going to make this to get from 1 to my 46,000. We're going to make this 46,240 bigger. So keep that one in your calculator. And let's times it by 46,240 and press equals. And that's going to come to 299.909. So that's not actually too bad for old Henry there. He's going to get that in Corona, and it's going to cost him 299.9, and if we round that up, €1. So not bad. He wanted to spend 300 and he's managed to spend 299.91. Not a bad deal for Henry. Now what happens in part B? International exchange rates are published every day. On a particular day in April 2012, the following information was published. 1 Mexican peso is worth 0.082 Canadian dollars. 1 Mexican peso is worth 0.058 euros. Using these exchange rates, can we go from Canadian dollars to euros and euros to Canadian dollars? Again, can be fairly tricky this, but if you just take your time, it's not too bad. So we want to, what do we know here? 1 peso is worth 0.082 and 1 peso is also worth 0.058. So these two amounts have to be equal to each other, right? Because they're both worth 1 peso. So that's your kind of first bit of insight there, that if we put dollars, sorry, I can't flip and do the dollar sign here, that's better, dollars and euro, we know that $0.082 must be worth 0.058 euro, because they have to be, because they're both worth a peso. So first question is, what's $1 worth? Well, we're just going to use our same technique. If you want to get it down to $1, you just divide by the exact same thing, 0.082. So, got to keep things balanced, do the same thing on the other side, divide by 0.082. So always the same technique to get it down to $1. So let's go for 0.058 divided by 0.082. Press equals. We get a dodgy little fraction there. Press my SD button and we get 0.70731. So 1 Canadian dollar is worth 0.70731 euros. And now we've just got to go the other way around. Now there are a couple of ways to do this, but I'm just going to go back to my basics and I'm going to write down what I know, 0.082 and 0.058, and this time I want to know what €1 is worth. So I'm going to do my same thing. I'm going to divide by 0.058, so I'm going to do the same to that side, divide by 0.058. So all I've got to do on my calculator, 0.082 divided by 0.058, press me equals, press me little SD button, and I'm going to get 1.4137 blah blah blah. 1.4137 blah blah blah. And for your little bonus, those two numbers are actually related to each other in a very, very, very important way. 0.70731 and 1.4137. Have a little mess around in your calculator, see if you can figure out what the relationship is between those two. But as I say, this technique of setting it out like that, I've always done currency that way, and it tends to work quite nice.